Some like it hot, some like it hot.
Hello and welcome to the Boxing Hangout with me, Phil Lindsay.
And myself, Ingram Jones.
This is our preview show ahead of Friday night's boxing, which there's quite a few fights on, but rather than going into all of the fights, there's a few fights even that we've actually picked out that we think are a bit more interesting, worth discussing. And I think the first one we're going to start off with is David Price against Matt Skelton. Ingram?
Right, the big man from Liverpool is back. Or according to Tyson Fury, the plumber is back. Why is a plumber? I've got no idea. I don't know if maybe David Price did a job for him he didn't like. And
maybe he didn't like the price?
Yeah, maybe he didn't like the price, exactly. The price wasn't right for Fury. So I don't know why he's a plumber. Don't know, random thing. So maybe it's a private joke, I don't know. But yeah, he's back. He's against our good old friend, the Bedford Bear, Matt Skelton.
Yeah.
The 45-year-old. We have no worries about him growing old overnight because we know he's older anyway. So he just goes older. He's crude. He's a brawler. He's no fancy Dan. He's not one who's going to switch tactics, so you know exactly what he's going to do. He's just going to come out winging from round one, and he's limited. So, you know, it's just a case of Price showing for me that there's a difference between being somebody who's fought in the Olympics and with good amateur pedigree compared
somebody
who is a K1 fighter. And, you know,
yes, he won.
Yeah, he's a hard man. He was British and was he British and Commonwealth champion, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Skelton?
yeah.
So he did well for himself, bearing in mind those things. But you know, he beat up Tom Dallas. You know, he's had a win against Sprott. Got beat up by Rogan. Got knocked off by Pulev. I saw the Pulev fight. Did you see the Pulev fight?
I did. That was. It looked like Skelton was past it at that stage. I thought that was the end of the line. I mean, when he lost to Rogan, which I think was his first time he'd been stopped,
yeah.
And up until that point, you know, when you watch certain boxers, a bit like Chisora, you see them taking punishment, you think this man's not going to get stopped, and then Rogan was great on the night, giving his dues.
Yes.
But in terms of Price, what gets me about this fight, and I'm an admirer of Matt Skelton, because although he had some random ages when he first came through, he was 33, 37, 41, it was like a game of bingo at one point. But I was like, he came through very late, limited experience, he was learning as he was coming through. Yes. And he was knocking everybody out, and it was like it was one of these not getting too far ahead of yourself, but
yeah,
you know, he's continuing this here. But after Price's last fight, they were calling out Tyson Fury. We want him next. We want him next. And within about 2 hours of that, and obviously Tyson Fury's response regarding plumbers and relationships with his friends and things like that. It was a matter of next. He's fighting Matt Skelton, and it's, well, you can't call one man out and then agree to fight another one within you know an hour or so. And it's another situation where, although Skelton may be able to ask different questions because of his toughness, but again at 45, although he's still tough, he's not as tough as he was when he was 37.
No.
So it's a matter of, I seen an interview with him, I think it was on Ringside, where Skelton was saying that they've seen some weaknesses, some vulnerabilities that they think they're going to be able to exploit. It's basically a matter of, can Skelton get inside? Once inside, which I think he will be able to get inside at some point, but once inside, can he do anything? Can he do any damage? What's Price like on the inside? Because we haven't found that out yet.
That's the question. That's the question I did in my pre-fight prediction. All I'm interested in is, can Skelton get inside and land one on the chin? That's all I want to know about this fight. And if he can, and he can rough Price up, then that's not good. That really is not good. A 45-year-old getting inside you and roughing you up. You know, the only way I think Skelton's got a chance is if he can get Price, and it was just a tactical thought. If he can get Price swinging in the top of his head, over the top of his head, he can slip inside. But Skelton doesn't move his head. He's a sitting duck. He's got poor footwork, to be honest.
He's got no footwork.
Yeah. Oh no. Well, yeah, no footwork. But you know, to me, I just see it this way: Skelton's going to come in, try and get inside. Price is going to snap at that left jab, and when he gets hit with one of them right hands, Skelton's going to think, you know what? I don't fancy this anymore. He gets hit with a right hand, and you know, he get hit with a temple punch. The way Skelton boxes, he's got no real specific sort of guard. He's vulnerable to temple punches. He's vulnerable to uppercuts. He's slow, and Price puts his punch together as well. And remember, Skelton was stopped by body shot by Pulev, and I have to say that Price is a more devastating puncher than Pulev. So if Pulev is stopping him by body shots, then, you know, I expect Price to win this fight inside 5. But if Skelton gets inside, lands a bomb, and hurts Price, it won't be good.
Well, it's one of those scenarios here with Price. It's a bit like the Cleverly scenario, where he's in an absolute no-win scenario here. Even
well, he isn't.
If he does a job on Skelton, which the vast majority of people will expect, so it's easy to predict a likely outcome in this fight. And I agree with you. Maybe he's 4 or 5 rounds. But if it goes longer than that, you know, then Price's stock may go down depending on the performance. He's just in a no-win scenario, apart from getting a bit more experience. But
to be fair, in defence of Price, he's now trying to, and credit goes out to no holds barred boxing. Ryan, he made a very good point. He wants to defend the British title. He wants the British title outright. So who does he defend the British title against? He's only had a handful of fights, 12, 14 fights? And he's trying to defend his British championship. So, you know, Chisora's out of the mix because he's barred, he's banned. He hasn't got his British boxing licence. You've got Fury, who's fighting at the moment against Johnson. You've got Sam Sexton, who's already beaten. You've got Martin Rogan, who you could potentially fight. He just got beat by Tyson Fury. We don't know if Rogan's still fighting. Who's next? Tom Dallas has been beaten. Richard Towers is fighting a guy either tonight or shortly. So who's next? Apart from Dillian White. And I don't think that Dillian White wants to get in the ring with David Price now.
Freddie Flintoff.
So, yeah, that's it.
We'll come to that a little bit later.
Yeah, so, you know, yes, I understand. But people look at Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury had the British Championship. He gave it up, and Tyson Fury has been involved in a few ding-dongs. He's been in ring fights with guys who have hit him, hurt him, dropped him, and, you know, Price is yet to have a big fight like a Chisora fight so far. Not his fault. He's got devastating punch power. He's a bigger puncher than Fury, I think. So, you know, so you can't really knock him for fighting Skelton. In fact, it's quite good that they're fighting Skelton quickly. Fight Audley, get Audley out of the way, fight Skelton, get Skelton out of the way. So that's what, 2 defences in the British title, is it not?
Well, I'm not knocking him for fighting Skelton.
No, I know a lot of people will do though.
But I mentioned it before because an hour before the fight was announced, they were calling out Tyson Fury, giving it all large, albeit David Price generally speaks with respect anyway, so I'm not gonna question him. But obviously, when Maloney starts on and calling big fights with Fury and wars of words, which of course they're selling the fight further down the line.
Of course.
And like I say, in terms of Skelton, it's It's just a matter of Price is in a no-win scenario, apart from winning the Lonsdale belt outright. With he's still going to have to fight one more fight most likely, which may be against Chisora. We'll see.
That's what it sounds to me. Because I mean, when they talked about Audley, it was Skelton next, and now they're talking about Chisora next. You know, if I were Derek Chisora, I would avoid that fight. It's nice for Chisora to come back and build his career up because he's a marketable heavyweight. You know, he's a marketable heavyweight
And improving.
Yes, absolutely. So for me, I think Price within 5 rounds. But if one of those winging right hands were to clip Price on the chin, could be interesting.
So within 5 rounds, if we're going to go for an outright prediction of a round, which round are you going to go for?
Price in 4.
I'll go Price in 3. Just to differ. Just to differ. Just to differ.
Just like you did with Robin Reed and Kenny Anderson, right?
No. I actually I had that bang on the money, but then I changed it to a different outcome. Never mind a different round.
And I got the right. And I got the right on spot on as well. I should get extra point for that.
Yeah. We haven't covered that off, but I would, in terms of the other main fight,
Yes.
certainly the UK fight for tonight.
Heffron and Vassell.
Yes.
Alright, let me tell you something. I've got a friend of mine who told me from day one, oh, Ronnie Heffron is the next best thing in Britain. And I've looked at Ronnie Heffron, and for me, for the style he has, I don't think he punches hard enough. Yeah, he's a good body puncher. Somebody said that he was the next Ricky Hatton. So, in his last bout, he fought some guy. I can't remember who the guy was. I was watching him, and I've watched Heffron on a few occasions, and every time I've watched Heffron, I've seen the same old thing: him walking forward, taking punches. And at the end of the day, I think for me, Heffron. I don't rate Heffron, to be honest. I don't rate him. I don't think he's going to go past British level, to be honest. And then he's fighting Vassell, then to Vassell. For me, I think Vassell wins the fight by points. I think it'll be a close fight, but I'm looking for Vassell to win the fight by points. But Heffron gets hit way too often.
Well, looking at my notes, I've basically... what's happening? We're agreeing on too many things tonight, Ingram. I was looking at both of the records, and Vassell has definitely mixed it at a higher level. Obviously, he's got a win over Lee Purdy, who's...
I was just about to come to that.
Yeah, and that's been proven as pretty good form. Where Heffron, he hasn't had as many fights, not as many wins, hasn't looked as good when he's done it, but he's won. And it's one of those things that sometimes unbeaten fighters find something more when they need to, and that's only when you find out. But again, it's one of those things we'll find out tonight.
I think he lacks in the punch department, to be honest. I don't think he's that big a puncher. If he was a bigger puncher, then maybe I would try to give him more of a chance, but nah, he doesn't punch hard enough for me.
How many people said that about Junior Witter, though?
Oh, he could punch
12 people out in a row.
Yeah, Witter could punch. He could punch, but he spent more time running away from opponents and trying not to get hit.
Yes.
And when you're running away from opponents rather than standing your ground and really digging your shots in, whereas he started doing a lot of his later fights. I mean, the Lovemore and Go was a perfect example of where he actually stood his ground and hit and go and dropped him.
Yeah.
And not a lot of guys do that.
Well, the thing is with the Vassell fight, again, same as yourself, I see it going to points. I think if anybody is going to get stopped, it'll be Heffron late because he does take far too many shots.
Yep.
But I think Vassell will be respectful enough that he'll be happy to win, and I'd say by at least 8 points. At least 8 points, and he'll just coast.
The thing about these fighters, upcoming fighters, I don't know what it is, but they have a poor fight, yeah, and it seems to be overlooked in the gym. You get caught with punches over and over again. Well, then go back to the gym and tighten up your defense. No, I'm going to keep throwing punches like a madman on the punch pad. Boxing is about hit and not get hit. Learn from Ricky Hatton. Hit and not get hit. That's what Adrian Broner does. Hit and not get hit. But Floyd Mayweather, hit and not get hit. You know, one man, one Marquez, hit, counter punch. All right. Bernard Hopkins. These guys have will have long careers because they're hitting people and not getting it, so they're not taking a lot of punishment. If you're taking a whole heap of punches at British level, what's going to happen when you move up to world level? You're going to get knocked out.
Well, that's exactly the same sort of premise in terms of Ricky Hatton, Kevin Mitchell. Both of them.
John Murray.
John Murray at British level, even getting towards the European level. They were good enough offensively to get away with it at that level, but they were getting into the habit of getting hit. Everything's about boxing's about habits. It's about getting the right habits ingrained into your system.
Absolutely.
And if you don't correct those bad habits early in your career, then those habits are going to catch you up when you get towards higher levels. And I think I think that'll happen with Heffron tonight. I don't think he'll be stopped. I think Vassell's a steady puncher. He's a decent puncher, but he's not like a one-punch knockout artist. And I think
if Heffron's going to get stopped, he'll get stopped with a combination of punches. Actually,
yeah.
If he's going to get stopped, he'll get stopped with a combination of punches and a referee stop. I can see the referee having to stop the fight. He seems a pretty solid guy, but I don't know.
I think if Heffron gets stopped, the reason he'll be stopped will be because his ambition. Because I see by 6 rounds, 7 rounds, he's going to be well behind on the cards.
Yep.
And at that stage, he's going to be deciding between one or two things. It's going to be, does he take chances and go really gamble and leave himself open by doing so, or does he get to the stage of thinking, I don't want to be stopped here, and he goes within his shell and he survives? And I think an unbeaten fighter is more likely to take a chance, and he might leave himself open maybe 9-10 rounds.
Okay.
There onwards sort of thing, because once it gets to that stage, it's like if he's losing wide, only a knockout's going to win for him. A knockdown won't even help once it gets towards that stage. But you never know, styles do make fights. So we might be wrong. That's the beauty of boxing. But I'm going to go for Vassell on points.
Okay, me too.
And then one more fight on that card where I'm going to use the word alluded to, because it's a broadcasters love using alluded to so much that over the last 6 to 12 months. I'm going to allude to that quite a few times over the next 35 seconds. But Flintoff against Richard Dawson.
Right, I've seen Dawson now, finally, the mystery man. When I was looking for him on, looking for pictures of him, I just got a picture of a guy who was like 70 years old, he's an old game show host, a white guy. So that wasn't him. And I actually saw the mystery man last night in Grenada. I saw him over, they had CNN, BBC, Sky Sports, or Sky News. And he looks between 5'10", 5'11". 23 years old, young guy, and American. But his body, he looks out of shape. He's got basically man tits. So you start to see man tits on a guy. It's never a good sign, especially he's 23 years old as well.
Especially on a Friday night at the pub.
Exactly. It looks like that. I mean, what can I say? He's won 2 fights against losing guys who've got losing records, but he still won those fights. It's a bit of a lottery. Yeah, by stoppage.
I'm sure he stopped one of them.
Well, that's good. So he knows how to stop a guy. I mean, look, if Freddie puts his chin in the way of one of them winging punches, and that guy is going to need a stepladder to hit Freddie. But if Freddie's silly enough to leave his chin in the area to get caught, and bear in mind, Barry McGuigan, who's been mentoring Freddie Flintoff, said in the interview up to yesterday, Freddie's been hit, he's been hurt in the gym, but he hasn't gone down. Well, simply because the reason why he didn't go down, probably because McGuigan said, "Oi, stop hitting him so hard." That's probably what happened. So, and I don't know if McGuigan's saying that to sell tickets for the fight, or I don't know if McGuigan's saying that to say, you know what, I ain't so sure if you're ready for your first professional bout, and I don't want my name being, associated with this nonsense anymore. So, is it Freddie's idea to box on November the 30th? I don't know. I don't know what the motivation is, but I know he's been injured for so many years with knee injuries and back injuries and ankle injuries and all the rest of it. I don't know. It's a lottery because nobody knows what's going to happen in the fight.
Oh,
but what I saw, he's got to be, the guy's got to be worse than Freddie. All right, he's got to be worse than Freddie. If he's better than Freddie, then we know what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, styles make fights, just like anything.
What style? What style? He ain't got no style.
Well, that's the thing. There is no style in this fight, so it's not one that we can actually predict accurately. But in terms of this guy coming in, he's obviously a lot smaller.
Yes.
I think they've picked a guy with a winning record to make it look more interesting, but a lot of non-boxing fans who will be interested in tuning in tonight because of the Flintoff sort of factor.
Yes.
And they'll just say, oh, he's had 2 fights, he's had 2 wins, oh, he stopped the guy, oh. But at the same point, I mean, I think they were trying quite a few different fighters. They were trying to get the board to authorise certain ones, and they wouldn't authorise this one, that one. And so this guy wasn't their first choice. So it's, like I say, I think it's interesting just because I think I seen that Box Nation show where Richard Keys, what a great broadcaster. Oh, he's fantastic, isn't he? Where he was interviewing Freddie, and I thought Freddie spoke really well. He spoke really well.
Freddie's always spoke very well. Look, Freddie's always been a personality, so he's a personality. If
Not
he had
so
a
much
boxing
the fluency
career,
though, just in terms of the content of what he was saying.
yeah, but he's a personality and he's good. I mean, you know, he's been around cricketers for a while, and you know, he's a superstar. So he knows what to say and what not to say. And you know, my concern is the British Boxing Board of Control, because any person now who's got money will say, I want to become a pro boxer, and we'll have it become a circus. There's 4 2-minute rounds of boxing. I mean, you know.
Yeah, but you've got the white collar circuit, for which, you know, some people are saying he should have gone down that route, but
Exactly.
But at the same point, he went before the board. They didn't. I mean, again, you don't know if it's part of the roller coaster ride or whatever, you know, the sideshow. But he went along, and they didn't give him the license straight away. They made him go away and come back and work that bit more towards it. So it's like, if he's genuinely earned his right to fight professionally, then, you know, just because he's done something else in the past, I think it would be unfair to hold that against him.
I agree. But there's some awful boxers who have boxed for years and they're still awful.
Yeah.
So, you know. But you know, I'm not. Maybe I'm being harsh on Freddie because he's transferred from cricket, and I love what he's done in cricket to boxing, and knowing the history of Freddie and all his injuries, and knowing what is in the heavyweight division. You know.
So we're taking that into account. Even though we know very little, what's your prediction, winner and outcome?
Do you remember watching Amir Khan when he fought Kinderlin? The final they did. Frank Warren did the promotion before.
Was this the rematch?
Yeah. Remember that? They did it. And Frank Warren brought Kinderlin over here. And it just looked to me, Kinderlin was giving somebody, said, look mate, come over here, put in a decent show, don't beat the poor guy because he's going to turn pro, have some money, and go away quietly. I haven't heard about Kinderlin since,
Allow him to reverse it so we can build his profile up with he beat the man.
Yeah. So you know, Dawson, come over here, take some money, mate, and we'll set you up well for the future. Take your blows, go home. First time Freddie hits you, fall over. And
is that what you think's going to happen?
Well, as soon as Freddie hits him, he goes over. But
so you're saying Flintoff knockout, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? I say this. Freddie could get knocked out as well, because the way I'm getting different news coming through, people saying, oh, Freddie's going to get beaten in this one. And people are telling me about Hatton getting... Hatton's going to get smashed. There are people inside boxing that were sending me messages telling me Hatton's going to get smashed. Forget it, mate. Forget it. And I was like, nah, come on, Hatton. And he got smashed. So, you know...
He got broken
I don't
down,
know.
not smashed.
What's that?
Hatton got broken down, not smashed.
Well, yeah, he did. He got broken down and not smashed. You know what I mean.
No, but I was actually worried that he might get smashed early. So that's the only reason I'm going to go for Flintoff on points.
Nah, I'm going to go for the by knockout. I think he's a big guy. He's a big 6'5" guy. He's got power in the right hand, but if
you know why I'm going points?
No, I'm not going points. I'm going
2-minute rounds. Whenever I've watched 2-minute rounds, you generally, just when the action's starting to hot up a little bit, ding, 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 oh, there you go. So it's going to be, to a degree, a non-event, but that's how I see it.
Some like it hot. Some like it hot.